Attention and its Education, 1951. What is Attention 3? The Influence of External World on Human Consciousness and Mental Activity. Conscious reflection of external world. Human consciousness reflects the external world. People perceive, think about, remember, imagine, and experience emotions influenced by external surroundings. Mental activities result from brain processes influenced by these external factors. Brain activity and mental function. Brain, particularly the cerebral cortex, is crucial for normal mental function. Normal mental activity depends on healthy brain operation. Marxist materialist perspective. Stalin's view primary role of matter. Matter, nature, and being exist objectively, independent of human consciousness. Secondary role of consciousness. Consciousness is a reflection of material reality and develops from matter. Thinking as a brain product. Thinking is a high-level development of matter, brain activity, making it inseparable from physical matter. Concept of attention. Definition. Attention is the direction and concentration of mental activity. Direction. Enables focus on a specific task or subject while ignoring others. Types of attention. Voluntary attention. Deliberately focused attention on a task, aligned with a consciously set goal, e.g., solving a problem. Involuntary attention. Unintentional focus drawn by an external stimulus, e.g., a visually appealing object. Importance of sustaining attention. Not only attracting but also maintaining attention is critical in mental activities. Stable attention enables prolonged focus and improves mental performance. Concentration and deep focus. Depth of engagement. Concentration is shown by engaging deeply in an activity, avoiding distractions. Distraction avoidance. Effective concentration involves ignoring unrelated stimuli. Examples. Focus during complex tasks, e.g., solving mathematical problems, creating plans, requires ignoring unrelated thoughts or people. Characteristics of attention. Direction and concentration. These are fundamental to effective attention and are two inseparable aspects of the same mental act. Attention and personality, 4 individual actions versus personality insight. Singular actions, such as pouring in carefully or sewing a button, do not reveal a person's general personality, social views, or convictions. Long-term observation of someone's social-related activities can reveal patterns about their personality. Connection between personality and attention. Attention reflects personal interests and values, even with involuntary attention. This connection intensifies with voluntary attention, as it involves conscious goals aligned with beliefs and worldview. Variability across contexts and eras. Attention differs based on social roles, work, upbringing, education, cultural level, and age. Influenced by social relations. Attention patterns are not universal and reflect one's social environment. Marxist perspective on social influence. Marx suggests that human essence is shaped by social relations, impacting attention and mental focus. This view emphasizes that one's attention is shaped by societal context rather than innate individual traits. Focus of Soviet people's attention. In the USSR, individuals prioritize attention to socialist progress. Soviet workers focus on productivity, quality, and collective prosperity, contrasting with capitalist workers, whose labor primarily benefits the upper classes. Attention of Soviet school children. Soviet students view learning as essential to becoming communism builders. This goal inspires their work ethic, directing their attention and shaping their personalities to focus on purposeful goals. Role of education in attention development. The cultivation of attention is linked with moral and ideological education. Teachers and parents shape students' attention to help them develop as citizens of Soviet society, using moral incentives in guided praise or disapproval. Self-discipline and attentiveness in learning. Students must learn to focus consistently and responsibly on tasks. This self-discipline reduces distractions and fosters an organized personality, where attentiveness becomes a habitual trait. Evolution of Soviet personality. Since the Great October Socialist Revolution, the Soviet spirit has transformed, with individuals now showing a conscious, social attitude towards work, participating actively in socialist competition, and embodying a collective, forward-moving spirit. Communist attitude and personality organization. The organized personality of the Soviet person is reflected in focused, attentive public activity, contributing to the nation's progress toward communism. Post-war developments in Soviet consciousness. The post-World War II period saw a rise in Soviet consciousness, with workers embracing collective labor methods and contributing to production and technical progress as part of the national communist agenda. Role of family and school in cultivating attentiveness. Attention is integral to communist education, linking attentiveness to a higher purpose of societal progress. The Soviet family and school play crucial roles in instilling this communist purpose-driven attention in children. Attentiveness as a communist character trait. Attention is seen not only as a skill, but as a cultivated character trait, essential to achieving the collective goals of Soviet society and integral to each individual's contribution to the nation's progress toward communism. Attention and activity. 7 Definition of attention. Attention is the direction and focus of mental activity on specific objects or tasks, often described as a selection of an object within perception. Examples of attention. A person might fixate on a figure in a painting or recognize an acquaintance in a crowded room. Objects of attention become clearer and more distinct to the observer compared to other objects in the visual field. Characteristics of attention. Attention clarifies the object due to its connection with human activity, enhancing perception of the object. Stopping attention on an object, e.g., focusing intently on a pencil, is conditional. Once novelty fades, so does attention. Role of activity in attention. Attention is inherently tied to consciousness and is dynamic rather than static. Individuals notice certain stimuli over others based on how these stimuli connect to their interests and needs. Attention and mental processes. Attention extends beyond perception to include thinking, memory, imagination, and other mental processes. Thus, attention should be seen as a dynamic mental process linked to personality and activity. Change in focus. While the object of activity may change, the overall mental activity or focus can remain constant, e.g., reading a book where thoughts progress as words change. Both children and adults display shifting attention based on the continuous change of objects in a given task. Educational application. In education, attention cannot be stopped on one object. Rather, teachers must integrate objects into active learning tasks. Effective teaching activates students' mental processes, thinking, perception, memory, imagination, to sustain attention. Maintaining student attention. Continuous mental engagement and activity are necessary to maintain students' focus during lessons. Attention wanes if a student doesn't understand the material or already knows it too well, as novelty and relevance are lost. Understanding attention versus free will. Idealistic views may interpret attention as a free will-based inner force, but attention is causally linked to social and educational conditions. Attention represents only one facet of mental activity, causally linked to other social and environmental factors. Dynamic nature of attention. Attention is inherently active and cannot remain fixed. It reflects the movement and concentration of mental processes. Educating attention effectively involves cultivating personal development and organizing activities purposefully. Physiological basis of attention. 9 Cerebral cortex and attention. Attention results from cerebral cortex activity, primarily through excitation and inhibition processes. The balance and interaction between these processes direct the flow of nervous activity in the brain. I.P. Pavlov on consciousness. Pavlov describes consciousness as the optimal excitability of certain cerebral areas, while the rest remain less excitable. This creative department of the brain is where new conditioned reflexes and differentiation develop. Dynamic nature of optimal activity. The area of optimal activity is not fixed. It moves across the cerebral cortex depending on intercenter connections and external stimuli. This fluidity supports the adaptability of nervous processes to changing stimuli. Visualization of cerebral activity. Pavlov likens optimal excitability to a moving light spot across the cerebral cortex, surrounded by a shadow, reflecting concentration on certain tasks. Mosaic structure of the cerebral cortex. The cortex operates as a mosaic of independent points, each with a unique role at a given moment, interconnected by various neural pathways. Role of external stimuli. Excitation and inhibition depend on external stimuli, which may reinforce or weaken each other. Stronger stimuli can override weaker ones, but internal conditions, like pre-existing excitation focuses, can influence responses. Dominant centers in excitation. Internal brain conditions, or dominance as termed by A. Ukhtomsky, are vital for directing excitations based on important life stimuli. Unconditioned and conditioned reflexes. Unconditioned reflexes respond to direct environmental factors, but conditioned reflexes form when neutral stimuli are repeatedly paired with unconditioned ones. Conditioned reflexes enhance adaptability, allowing animals to prepare for environmental changes. Formation and fading of connections. Conditioned reflexes form in response to consistent stimuli, but fade when they no longer align with the environment, requiring new connections. Inhibition for differentiation. Inhibition clarifies conditioned responses, allowing for specific reactions to particular stimuli without generalizing to similar ones. Mutual induction. Excitation and inhibition can induce each other in neighboring brain areas, increasing mental clarity and focusing attention by blocking irrelevant stimuli. Complexity of brain processes. Brain activity is complex, involving positive and negative induction, excitation spread and concentration, and mutual excitation-inhibition interaction. Pavlov's insights on nervous system connections. Temporary nervous connections based on environmental stimuli form the basis for direct, unconditioned, and indirect conditioned responses. Conditioned responses are flexible, enabling organisms to adapt to changing environments. Humans in the second signal system. Language. Unlike animals, humans have a second signal system, language, that processes reality beyond direct sensory impressions. Language enables humans to generalize experiences, creating concepts, judgments, and conclusions that transcend immediate stimuli. Role of speech in cognitive development. From an early age, humans use language to label objects and actions, forming a foundation for concepts and abstract thought. Speech facilitates social communication, sharing of ideas, and cognitive development through mutual understanding and interaction. Language and social life. I.V. Stalin notes language's role in facilitating social cooperation and organizing collective activities in production. Language consolidates and records thought processes, enabling societal progress and intergenerational knowledge sharing. Second signal system and adaptation. The second signal system allows for the formation of new neural connections, enhancing humans' capacity for adaptation through learned responses. This ability to generalize and integrate old and new information underpins science and advanced cognition. Educational implications. The combination of concrete first signal and abstract second signal thinking forms the basis of learning, where clarity is linked to generalization. Attention flows with directed thought processes, aligning with societal goals, shaped by the combined activity of the two signal systems. Reasons that evoke and maintain attention. 15. Category 1. Nature of external irritation, intensity, and strength. Strong stimuli, bright light, loud sound, immediately capture attention, even if briefly. Relative intensity. The prominence of a stimulus depends on the context, e.g., a conversation may go unnoticed in a noisy factory, but a faint sound attracts attention in a quiet room. Contrast. Sudden or unexpected stimuli stand out more, such as a loud sound in a quiet environment or vice versa. Size and duration. Larger or longer-lasting stimuli are more likely to attract attention. Repeated stimuli can fade into the background unless they vary, e.g., intermittent sounds stand out more than continuous noise. Movement. Moving objects naturally draw attention more than stationary ones. Practical use in teaching. Teachers can use these principles to capture students' attention by modulating their volume, using movement, or utilizing large visuals. Category 2. Correspondence to internal state alignment with internal state. Stimuli that align with a person's needs or interests, e.g., a thirsty person noticing water-related cues, are more likely to hold attention. Role of interests. Interests significantly affect focus. Engaging content naturally holds attention, though not all learning can be entertaining. Emotional connection. Stimuli that resonate with a person's emotions are more likely to be noticed and remembered. Cultural and societal influence. In a Soviet context, the public interest merges with personal motivation, amplifying attention towards work benefiting society. Category 3. Influence of past experience established connections. Familiar stimuli or those related to prior experience attract attention due to paved paths of mental association. Temporal apperception. Previous events or preparation can set expectations, guiding attention in a specific direction. Stable apperception. Long-term experience and profession shape attention. Different specialists notice different aspects in the same environment, e.g., a botanist versus an economist in a forest. Learning and habit formation. Repetition and familiarity reduce the cognitive load required to focus on tasks, improving productivity. Sequence and logic. Sequential and logical presentation is crucial for sustained attention. Moving forward too quickly or too slowly disrupts engagement. General observation interplay of factors. These categories rarely operate in isolation. They often interact, enhancing or diminishing each other's effects. Voluntary attention, 19 involuntary attention, occurs without conscious awareness of a goal or effort of will. Seen in animals, e.g., a cat waiting for a mouse, where attention is attracted by sensory stimuli, e.g., smell or movement. Involuntary attention is driven by external triggers and conditioned reflexes. Voluntary attention, exclusive to humans, as it requires conscious goal setting, decision-making, and planning, arises when a person consciously directs attention to an activity, often requiring effort and will. Central to labor, where attention is necessary for the worker to focus on tasks, particularly if the work content is unengaging. Karl Marx emphasized that labor requires purposeful will and attention, especially when the task itself lacks engaging elements. Development of voluntary attention in children, initially influenced by upbringing, as adults guide the child to focus on necessary tasks rather than immediate desires. This begins the child's journey in self-control and directing attention to tasks, a foundation for voluntary attention. Games, schooling, and structured activities further develop this attention through goal setting and task completion. Interest in voluntary attention. Voluntary attention involves mediated interest or interest in the goal or result rather than the process itself. This type of interest differs from direct interest, which is a spontaneous attraction to the activity. Mediated interest is essential for sustained focus on tasks aligned with personal aspirations. Soviet context of voluntary attention. Voluntary attention is crucial in socialist labor, with practices like competition, quality focus, and efficiency under socialist values. High-quality work in Soviet society is associated with a high level of voluntary attention of its workers. Post-voluntary attention. Beyond voluntary attention, post-voluntary attention develops as tasks become more engaging. With increased familiarity and immersion in the task, the initial willpower needed to focus decreases. Example: a student solving a challenging problem initially struggles, but eventually becomes deeply focused without much effort. Post-voluntary attention is marked by high concentration without conscious effort, unlike involuntary attention, as it still involves an underlying conscious goal. Transition of attention types. Attention can transition from voluntary to post-voluntary as tasks become engaging, with less effort required to maintain focus. This transition occurs when interest in the result of the task shifts to interest in the process itself. When labor becomes captivating, voluntary attention evolves into an enjoyable mental and physical activity, as described by Marx. Stakhanovite efficiency. Adopting new work methods initially requires high effort, but over time, workers like Stakhanovites achieve confidence, rhythm, and efficiency. This state is marked by calm, deliberate actions with a strong awareness of task significance, exemplifying the end state of post-voluntary attention. Characteristic aspects of attention 22 stability and fluctuations of attention can seem unstable, as illustrated by fluctuations, like the faint ticking of a clock fading in and out. Despite these fluctuations, intense, prolonged attention is common and often achieved by creating a continuous flow of thought or story associated with the observed object. Influence of context in maintaining attention dual images, such as a truncated pyramid, tend to shift between interpretations unless a narrative is imagined around the image. Consistent, active direction of consciousness tied to a specific activity stabilizes attention, while a lack of such direction leads to shifts in focus. Role of active engagement in attention. Sustained attention requires active engagement of memory, imagination, thinking, and aspiration. For educators, stimulating students' thinking and creativity helps in maintaining their attention, not just passive absorption of knowledge. Volume of attention. Attention volume refers to the number of discrete objects one can hold in consciousness at once. Unrelated items, such as random letters, have a smaller span of attention than connected items, like words, indicating that structured, interconnected stimuli increase attention capacity. Distribution of attention. Distribution involves managing multiple activities simultaneously, which is easier when tasks are related, e.g., an orchestra conductor. For unrelated tasks, familiarity and automation of some elements are necessary. Training enhances this ability, which is not limited to highly gifted individuals. Switching attention. Switching is the deliberate shifting of focus from one task to another, essential yet challenging, especially if tasks demand sustained concentration. Educators should avoid unnecessary interruptions to avoid disrupting deep focus, but should also guide students in transitioning between tasks when needed. Distraction and controlled distraction is an involuntary shift caused by external stimuli, such as noise or movement, which disrupts attention. Managing distractions requires willpower and self-control, as well as developing the ability to work even in non-ideal conditions with potential distractions. Absent-mindedness and how to combat it. 25. Understanding absent-mindedness. Dual nature of absent-mindedness. Productive absent-mindedness. When one is so deeply absorbed in work that they ignore their surroundings. This can be beneficial in specific work contexts. Inflexibility in attention. In regular life and work, one needs to pay attention to their surroundings. Inflexible attention. Difficulty in distributing or switching attention can manifest as absent-mindedness. Absent-minded person often refers to someone who fails to notice their environment due to a lack of flexible attention. Strategies to combat absent-mindedness. Broadening scope of attention. Environmental awareness. Noticing changes in surroundings and adapting actions accordingly. Exercise for attentional flexibility. Training to handle multiple tasks, foresee changes, and switch attention easily. Distributing attention. Developing the ability to observe not only one's own actions but also others. Types of absent-mindedness in children. Disinterest-based absent-mindedness. Characteristics. Children appear uninterested despite educators' efforts to engage them. Cause. Often results from a lack of personal expression opportunities at home or school, leading to hiding interests. Solution. Requires sensitive, long-term engagement to gain the child's trust and uncover hidden interests. Knowledge gap. Absent-mindedness. Characteristics. When a student doesn't understand or has missed foundational knowledge, they lose interest in subsequent lessons. Solution. Requires individualized attention from teachers and parents to fill knowledge gaps, making classroom material understandable. Interest overload. Absent-mindedness. Characteristics. Children with many interests become easily distracted, jumping from one activity to another. Solution. Requires prioritizing the child's interests and guiding them to focus on the most important ones, balancing their inclinations. Importance of a persistent, sensitive approach. Long-term engagement. Combating absent-mindedness requires consistent effort, tailored strategies, and may take time. Positive outcomes. Although not immediate, persistent efforts in addressing absent-mindedness can yield effective results. Attention Training 27 Involuntary attention cannot be directly influenced as it's beyond one's control, but can be indirectly cultivated by understanding causes. External stimulation, engaging varied sensory inputs draw attention. Internal state. Emotions and past experiences contribute to engagement. To cultivate involuntary attention, it is essential to develop sensory diversity in children, which builds observation skills and receptiveness to various stimuli. Observation and sensory development. Essential for children to distinguish between similarities and differences in their surroundings. Practical, interactive play, e.g., toys that move or can be assembled, aids in understanding objects, encouraging children to differentiate and recognize various characteristics. Encouraging exploration. Encourage children's curiosity about different things and relationships. Activities like storytelling, reading, walks, and discussions help develop children's perception and sensitivity, enhancing their ability to observe and understand. Development of feelings. Deep emotions aid in maintaining attention. Educators should understand children's needs, guiding them toward feelings beneficial for societal development. It's essential to instill self-regulation of emotions, replacing undesired feelings with positive ones to align with a constructive social mindset. Knowledge and experience. Increased knowledge facilitates interest in new subjects, though learning pace should align with the child's age. Voluntary, purposeful attention is cultivated through education, starting with simple, age-appropriate explanations and tasks. Voluntary attention and personality development. Building voluntary attention is linked with personal aspirations and goal setting. Encouraging children to balance short and long-term goals enhances willpower, enabling them to focus on both enjoyable and challenging tasks. Life activities like play, study, and later work help develop sustained voluntary attention. Role of collective effort. A collective environment, like a class, nurtures a sense of responsibility, as well as attentiveness, through group support. A.S. Makarenko's educational methods emphasize the importance of teamwork and social responsibility for developing attention and organization. Willpower and self-mastery. Ushinsky highlights the importance of controlling attention to build willpower and self-discipline. A balance between passive involuntary and active voluntary attention is key. Schooling naturally integrates exercises to enhance attention. Character development through attention. A habit of attentiveness strengthens into a personal trait through continuous practice and self-monitoring. This habit, essential for socialist society, connects personal interest with collective responsibility, fostering a deep satisfaction from meaningful work. Passion for work and collective goals. Passionate, creative work emerges from a blend of individual dedication and a strong sense of purpose. True satisfaction comes when the value of one's work aligns with societal goals, becoming a vital part of one's identity and a source of fulfillment. Soviet ideals of attention education. Attention education is tied to building traits like persistence, purposefulness, and resilience, aligning with qualities encouraged by the Communist Party. This holistic approach to education aims to foster individuals who embody both personal and societal responsibility.